Action.
1994, the Andy Warhol Museum finally opened after many, many years of trials and tribulation.
The opening turned out to be a huge success.
What a fabulous night it was.
This is going to be a fun evening, and we're really starting to feel the excitement build out here.
We would have loved to make the factory like this.
If you had any doubt that this was a big deal, please take my word for it. This was a very big deal.
Well, he was very supportive of other people's work.
This was a man who was a graphic
painter,
artist, a
a
painter, a
filmmaker,
sculptor.
He
was one of the greatest
He was a real reporter of
the 20th
so
century.
his work is very accessible in that way.
That will stand the test of time.
And that was part of Andy's magic. He saw the future.
And it took a while for people to understand that. I think it was really appropriate that the museum be in Pittsburgh. He was from Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh shaped him. His legacy is in that building. It's the Warhol Museum. It's the Andy Warhol Museum.
Going through it, you see him in a different way. You see how huge his career was. And yeah, it started right up the street from where you grew up.
And Andy Warhol's not stopping. The myth, the legacy, the reality, it's not going away.
I have something more important and meaningful to say.
If you plan on visiting the museum, give yourself plenty of time because the collection includes 900 paintings, 1,500 drawings, and more than 500 published prints.
The building, the installation, of course, the collection was world class.
And the coolest thing is that the Andy Warhol Museum is more than a museum.
Music is the perfect pathway into a museum for so many different kinds of people. The sound series really is the perfect way to say to them, oh, maybe there'd be other things that I'd be interested in over there.
The time capsules are one of Andy Warhol's longest art projects. He amassed over 610 standard packing boxes that were filled with ephemera from his everyday life.
Warhol was an amazing experimenter with film, and in fact he used film in that way to keep himself on the cutting edge. It's been an enormous project and a continuing project to slowly digitally transfer those films.
His stillest movies, the ones where nothing happens and everything, are the ones that are the most beautiful and the most radical. Even if you've never seen Andy's work, you think, oh, you know, the easiest thing, my kid could have done that. Well, I said, well, you should have, stupid. It just sold for $1 billion. You should have then, dumbbell.
The Warhol Museum gave people who maybe felt outcasts a gathering place.
We do have specific accessibility programs like sensory-friendly silent disco. We have sensory-friendly studio nights.
We created a series of tactiles and an audio guide that delivers verbal descriptions.
The thing that is probably closest to my heart is Queer Prom. When I saw these young people just feeling entirely themselves and safe, it was incredibly, incredibly moving. That makes it all worth it.
I think it's really cool when we can make connections to, you know, the modern world and to artists who are working today.
Sometimes we'll show an emerging artist or a mid-career artist or even another very famous artist in relationship to Warhol.
And over the last 30 years, I think we've captured that.
Well, there were a lot of naysayers in the beginning.
We proved them wrong.
And they were proven wrong. What the Warhol did for Pittsburgh is it gave it a personality beyond what it had before.
We have impacted the world, and they're coming to see it.
And it's extending the legacy of Andy Warhol himself, because he wasn't just an artist, he was also an entrepreneur.
Just like Andy Warhol's factory studio, the Pop District is Pittsburgh's place that everyone belongs and everybody has a place to be.
Public art, when done properly, can catalyze the transformation of individuals and community consciousness.
I get to put my work out there and have conversations with everybody, and not just in a museum or not just inside a gallery with a few people.
Getting involved in workforce development is completely grounded in 30 years of history.
We're bringing in all of these opportunities for creatives.
It has really changed my life.
It is fundamentally what we do.
The Pop District has definitely made us think about Pittsburgh's creative network in a new way.
Every museum in the world will need to be able to say, this is how I specifically and demonstrably help young people in my community.
But we don't want to lose that crazy Warholian atmosphere. We got to keep that.
You can be a famous artist and live in Pittsburgh. Don't leave where you're born. Stay where you are and make it better.
I'm sure Andy, living in here in his spiritual tomb, is saying, finally, we got it just the way we want it.
This initiative helps to make sure that the next Andy Warhol doesn't have to leave Pittsburgh to become Andy Warhol.